What is cooking, everyone? Today we're going to be making Jamaican patties, which originate, of course, in Jamaica. They're also popular throughout the Caribbean. How they came about was when Cornish immigrants of Jamaica introduced pasties, a type of pastry, and Indian and African slaves within Jamaica, they introduced the curries and the spices. And over time, it became what we know today as Jamaican patties. They were introduced to Canada and the US in the 60s and 70s when many Jamaicans immigrated to North America. So let's get on with the show and get cooking. For these patties, you will need 2 medium tomatoes, 1 medium onion, parsley, ginger, green onions, a Scotch bonnet pepper, and thyme. Earth balance. All-purpose flour, turmeric, pepper, ground cardamom, curry powder, cumin, salt. Beefless ground round. Veggie broth. Garlic. And allspice. Here are the awesome Jamaican patties we're going to be making today. First of all, we're going to start off with our bowl and the flour mixture. You want to make sure that your earth balance is cold as well as the water because we want that flaky pastry. Starting with our pastry, we will need 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of curry powder, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 3/4 cups of earth balance. Now we're just taking our fork and mashing it into the flour mixture. We want to get it nice and crumbly. Then we gradually add our water. You may need to adjust the flour and water based on how your dough comes together. We want to incorporate it quickly with our hands because we don't want to warm it up too much. That's how we'll get the flaky dough in the end. Taking our dough, we're splitting it in half. I'm going to put it in the saran wrap. It's going to go in the fridge while we do our other stuff. Here are 2 halves of dough and they're going to go in the fridge. And I'm just going to sharpen my knife. Now we're chopping up our onion. We'll put it in a bowl and set it aside. Take out the stem of the tomato and chop it up. Put our chopped tomato in a bowl and set it aside. Now to mince our garlic. Now for our garlic, these ends will go in our soup stock bag. And we'll mince all of our garlic up. Now we're just going to peel our ginger and mince it up. We'll put our tablespoon aside with the garlic. Now we have our green onion we're going to chop up. We have our Scotch bonnet pepper here. Thing to note about peppers in general, the darker in color, the more spicier. And also, if you leave the seeds and membrane in with the dish, it's going to be a lot spicier. If you remove the seeds and remove the membrane, then it's not going to be as spicy. I'm going to keep the seeds and the membrane in because I like it hot. If you're not used to dealing with hot pepper, you may want to get some gloves. And definitely don't touch your eyes. Now on to chopping our tablespoon of parsley. And we're going to get a teaspoon of thyme. We're going to take the leaves off. So there's a little trick to taking off the herb leaves. You hold it from the top and you press and drag it all the way down, and that takes off the leaves. It's an easier method than just picking all the little leaves off.
We can use these thyme stems for a soup stock bag. We're just gonna chop up our tiny stems here. And we're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of cumin to this dish, a 3/4 teaspoon of allspice, half a teaspoon of ground cardamom, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground turmeric. We're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of salt and pepper in this dish and set it aside. You can use the amount to your taste.
Now we're gonna get our filling going with this pan.
Now we're gonna heat our stovetop to medium. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of the earth balance to our pan and get it nice and hot. Now we're adding our onions, stirring it up.
We're gonna cook our onion for 5 minutes to get it softened.
We'll add the garlic and ginger in.
Let that cook for a little bit. So after our garlic and ginger has become fragrant, we're gonna add the beefless Gardein, and we're gonna add our cumin, allspice, cardamom, turmeric, Scotch bonnet peppers, and thyme as well. So in our veggie brown round goes. So I think I need a bigger pot. Spices. Scotch bonnet. And our thyme. We're gonna add our green onion, parsley, and tomatoes. Okay, y'all. I don't know where I said that. I had to transfer the mixture into a bigger pan because it's just easier to work with. It was getting too much. Our veggie stock. Actually need some more than 3/4 cup here. This is supposed to be simmering for 20 minutes, so we want enough liquid to account for that. I'm just going to reduce the heat to low. This will be simmering away for 20 minutes. Now it's time to go back to our pan. Finally, we're just going to mix in our salt and pepper as well.
And we're adding 2 tablespoons of vegan Worcestershire sauce.
Since we want the mixture to cool before we form our patties, I'm just going to pour the mixture into a Pyrex dish here. So we'll just let our dish chill for a bit.
I tried something new here with a separate table. I sprinkled some water under the parchment to keep it from sliding.
Our mixture has cooled, so we're going to want to preheat the oven to 400. got our dough out of the fridge and we're just going to split it up. So we're going to take our dough and split it into a total of 6 equal parts.
You want to fill the pastry with a spoon to a spoon and a half full and crimp the edges with a fork. Be careful not to overfill.
And they'll be about 5 inches more or less. We're going to place it on our parchment paper. There was no room on the baking sheet, so I'm just adding this final one in. Our 25 minutes is up, so we're just going to open the oven and take out the patties. So we'll have to put them on a plate before we dig in, okay? We have to let them cool a bit so we don't burn our mouths. We have a lot of leftovers for our mixture, so we can use that for pasta or other meals accompanied with some veggies. You can even freeze it if you want, if you're not going to use it right away. And also for the patties, you could also assemble them and put some of them in the freezer and cook the ones that you're using, and then you can have an easy, quick meal. You just put it in the oven and it will be ready to go. Time for the moment of truth. I'm not going to eat the pretty ones. They turned out really perfect. I'm gonna eat the more crumbled one. It's gonna be delicious, I know that. Crust is nice and flaky. It has a little bit of spice, so Shimmy will be able to handle this.
Earth Balance also has a veggie shortening. You can mix the two. You can use Earth Balance butter and Earth Balance shortening together. I didn't have the Earth Balance shortening, so I just used the Earth Balance vegan butter.
If you like this video in any way, feel free to hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and feel free to comment below, leave your thoughts and questions.